Everybody is ablaze right now. Everybody's wondering what is really going on with Angel Reese. Has she just flat out quit again? Has she quit on the Chicago Sky? Angel, you gotta be, hold on, you have to have some level of self-awareness here.
Angel, going to believe it. Reese has once again bailed on the Chicago Sky. No heads up, no explanation, just walked away. Fans are livid, her teammates are left in shock, and the chaos feels straight out of a reality show meltdown. Could this be the collapse of her WNBA career, or just another calculated stunt to grab headlines? What's been happening behind closed doors is shocking, and you're not.
I think Angel Reese, and I'm saying this with my chest out, I think she's quit on the Chicago Sky. She's been claiming a back injury basically since the All-Star break. And there's no details. Every day we hear that Angel Reese is day to day. And every week there's no update on what she's struggling with, what she's doing. There's nothing. There's no information about Angel Reese. I think she's quit on this season. I think this is a worse version than Kawhi Leonard.
Angel Reese walking away from the Chicago Sky is about as predictable as the sunrise. I said this was coming weeks ago, but now everyone's acting like it's some shocking scandal rocking the WNBA. Let's be real, this is classic Angel. She's addicted to the spotlight but allergic to the grind. Winning games, diving for loose balls, that's not her lane. She's in it for the cameras, the clout, and the headlines. The second real effort is required. She vanishes quicker than a missed free throw in crunch time.
Hey, look, bro, you gotta remember, she quit in Unrivaled. She just stopped playing in Unrivaled. Said she was hurt, didn't show up for the championship game, didn't even show up and watch. Last season, she claimed her wrist was messed up, didn't finish playing in none of the games. Now, this year, she's saying this season, it's her back. It looked like she's not finishing playing in none of the games. The Sky needs you. The Chicago Sky, you guys are the gum on the bottom of the shoe of the league. They need Angel Reese to play in games. Angel, where you at? Where are you at, Angel? This is nuts.
This whole Rookie of the Year debate between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Come on, that was never a real contest. It was about as close as me buying a $20 million mansion. Pure fantasy, cooked up to keep people entertained. The media dragged it out because drama sells, and Clark dominating from day one doesn't spark the same clicks. Let's be real. The only reason Reese's name stayed in the mix is because she's built for headlines. She's loud, she's flashy, she knows how to stir the pot, and that plays perfectly online. But if you look past the hype and check the actual game tape, the numbers weren't shouting greatness. They were politely saying, maybe next season.
Angel Reese, she might have tapped out, y'all. Angel Reese may have tapped out and quit on the Chicago Sky. Everybody is speculating, what is this back injury? What's going on? Hey, are you trying to pretend like you hurt because Caitlin Clark really is hurt? Wait, what's going on? What's going on?
And you know who I hold responsible for this whole mess? Everyone who kept hyping her up like she was the future face of basketball greatness while she was barely doing the basics. Every analyst who treated a garbage-time double-double like it was a once-in-a-generation performance. Every fan who confused a few flashy celebrations and side-eyes with real leadership. You kept fueling the hype machine until it ballooned so big, it could have had its own retirement ceremony. And now the Chicago Sky are paying the price. 'Cause when you hand the wheel to someone who never wanted to drive, don't be surprised when the entire season crashes straight into a ditch.
I think she's using her back as an excuse to sit out because she doesn't really care about basketball. I think she looks over at Caitlin Clark and says, hey, Caitlin Clark is out with a legitimate injury. I proved my point before the All-Star game when I went on a 10-game run trying to justify being on the All-Star team. When that first ballot came out, when the first voting results came out about the All-Star game and I was 13th, holy cow, Angel Reese panicked, started playing hard, tried to put up some stats to justify being on the All-Star team, did that, and now she said, hey, the Chicago Sky sucked this year, Peace out.
Chicago isn't really Angel Reese's home. It's just Maryland all over again. Another Chicago isn't really Angel Reese's home. It's just Maryland all over again. Another flashy pit stop on her endless Look at Me tour. She's already scanning the horizon for her next LSU, a roster that's already loaded, already built, where she can drop in, let the real workers take the hits, and then strike a pose when the confetti falls. That's her entire playbook. Skip the groundwork, dodge the heavy lifting, and slide straight into a championship that someone else built. She's not the architect, not the engine, not the one laying the bricks. She's the tenant who strolls in after the construction's finished, moves a few things around, and brags about how perfect the house looks.
She identified once they lost Vandersloot, their point guard, early in the year, and once they started getting their brains beat in, hey, we're not going to win anything this year. I'm not putting these L's on my resume. I'm going to have an excuse for the Chicago Sky potentially coming in with the worst or second worst record in the WNBA. These losses will not be on my resume.
Chicago didn't just draft Angel Reese, they signed up for the full drama package. Front row seats to every mood swing, every sudden I'm done moment, and every disappearing act when the grind gets real. If she ever did throw in the towel, let's be honest, it would probably take 4 attempts before it even hit the floor. The reality is simple. Reese plays for Reese, not for the Sky, not for the fans, not even for her teammates. She's chasing headlines, endorsement checks, and Instagram engagement. Basketball just happens to be the stage. Now compare that to Caitlin Clark. Clark doesn't need to scream for attention because her game does all the talking. She's the one knocking down shots that shake the arena. While Reese is off to the side making sure the lighting's perfect for her post-game outfit pick, one rookie is laying the bricks for a real career. The other is polishing a brand, hoping no one catches the difference.
Last year with the Chicago Sky, you quit. You quit. You threw in the towel. Once you realized you never stood a chance, to be honest, with Caitlin Clark for that Rookie of the Year. But once you realized your double streak was over, and it was over. She took over post-Olympic break. Once you realized it was done, you threw in the towel, said your wrist was hurting for the rest of the year. You threw in the towel and said your wrist was hurting for the rest of the year and didn't play again. This past the inaugural season of Unrivaled, you didn't even finish that season. You didn't even show up for the championship. No, not only did you not play, you didn't even show up to the game at all. People noticing a pattern with you. That's 2 seasons in a row.
Let's take a moment to break down leadership. Real leaders don't vanish when things go wrong, they face it. They take ownership, stand tall in failure, and share the glory in success. Angel Reese, however, treats accountability like it's her kryptonite. You'll never hear her say, "That one's on me." Instead, it's the eye rolls, the excuses, the finger pointing at everyone else in the room. And the truth is, when your entire game plan depends on riding someone else's momentum, you can't exactly admit that you're the one dragging the team down. Chicago needs a cornerstone, a builder, someone who lifts the franchise higher. But Reese? She's the eternal passenger. She loves the spotlight, the perks, the celebration, but not the 6 a.m. grind, not the endless film sessions that separate stars from champions. What's wild is this. She'll probably earn more headlines for quitting than most players ever get for winning. That's the luxury of being a brand-first athlete. The coverage never stops, even if you do. But here's the catch. Quit once and people start asking questions. Quit twice and it's no longer a story. It's your identity. Angel Reese now lives in that zone where nobody's shocked anymore. Walk out on your team once, maybe it's a headline. Do it again? That's simply who you are. It's not bad luck, it's your blueprint. At this point, Reese is basically the WNBA's Houdini, the master of disappearing acts, just without the magic.
Let's get it! Burn! Lack of awareness combined with a lack of ability to jump, not great! Burn!
Me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow.
Yeah! Again! Do it for me. Me bow! Burn!
And here's the wild part. No matter how messy things get, she'll always dress it up as some sort of self-care or empowerment moment. That's exactly the kind of storyline that sells on Instagram. Next week, you'll see her on a podcast explaining how she needed to protect her peace, and plenty of people will buy it, overlooking the irony that her peace was apparently disrupted by doing her actual job. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out there grinding, logging heavy minutes, taking hits, attracting double teams, and still finding ways to deliver. Clark isn't chasing the next LSU-style moment. She's building her own empire, brick by brick, from the ground up. Chicago Sky fans deserve more than a player who treats the season like a side gig. They deserve someone who shows up whether the lights are blinding or the seats are half empty. Someone who works when nobody's watching, not just when the cameras are rolling. And Angel Reese? Fourth quarter hype gives you nothing. She's not that type of player. She's the star of her own reality show, and unfortunately, the rest of the roster is just background props. If the Sky have any sense, they'll treat this as a wake-up call. Stop drafting players off hype and start drafting for heart. Because hype gets you clicks in the summer. But heart is what carries you through the headlines.
Williams gonna have to hurry off the dribble, rolls out. Oh, open three. Oh, what a sight for Alexi Hall. She has needed that one to drop.
Alexi Hall catching fire.
Now Chicago just needs to get it a little bit more settled here in the half court. Nurse loses it. Mitchell 2-on-1. It's a foot race. Mitchell to Cunningham. Cunningham right there for two more.
And here's the wild part. No matter how messy things get, she'll always dress it up as some sort of self-care or empowerment moment. That's exactly the kind of storyline that sells on Instagram. Next week, you'll see her on a podcast explaining how she needed to protect her peace, and plenty of people will buy it, overlooking the irony that her peace was apparently disrupted by doing her actual job. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out there grinding, logging heavy minutes, taking hits, attracting double teams, and still finding ways to deliver. Clark isn't chasing the next LSU-style moment. She's building her own empire, brick by brick, from the ground up. Chicago Sky fans deserve more than a player who treats the season like a side gig. They deserve someone who shows up whether the lights are blinding or the seats are half empty. Someone who works when nobody's watching, not just when the cameras are rolling. And Angel Reese? Fourth quarter hype gives you nothing. She's not that type of player. She's the star of her own reality show, and unfortunately, the rest of the roster is just background props.